Stop Asian movement. Just doing some housekeeping stuff, advertising. You know the drill. And you couldn't hear me. You know the drill. You know the drill. Trying to figure out. Yeah, I mean it's fine now, right? It was just because the mic wasn't to my face. Just gonna wait till a few more people file in. Everyone needs to check in the SAR when they can. SARS, check in. SAR Nation. I gotta admit, that's a pretty effective, like, way of getting audience participation. It's pretty, you know, it's like just, it's just funny. It's funny because we're all, I mean, it's like, Indian people, obviously not all Indian people are Jeets. and a lot of Indian Americans have very similar experiences to Asian Americans, of course. But I feel like Indian people who, like, are indignant about, like, the Jeet thing is just kind of like, quote unquote, anti-Zionist Jews who are, like, beside themselves of somebody using the word goy, It's like, yeah, it's kind of racist, but it's like, what are you actually mad about? You're mad about the racism, or you're mad about that you're being called out for actually supporting imperialism? That's the big rub that I feel like a lot of these, especially like Jeets that don't live in the West, especially the Jeets that are in India. I'm just kind of like, the ones that are indignant about all this anti-Indian sentiment. I'm just kind of like, are you serious? Like, do you not see your fellow countrymen doing what they do, especially online, and especially talking about, like, the West and glazing the West and fucking glazing Israel? It's like, I mean, you guys all know how I feel about this. I've talked about this at length, obviously, in my article. Am I not getting attritionalist? You were muted by the top chat. I had top chat on. I just put on live chat. I just saw attritionalist. But yeah. So how's everything going, guys? I guess like today's a quiet day. I've noticed not a lot of people come on Thursdays. Might be because of the basketball game today. OKC. Now down to the Spurs. 7 at halftime. I'd expect some traffic though during the halftime. Be like, hey, let's see what this, YouTube, because you're already probably at the TV watching shit. Turn on the Doug Kim. Sorry. Everybody is rooting for the Spurs, I think, unless you live in Oklahoma. I feel like you are probably rooting for the Spurs. I feel like even some Oklahoma people are like, yeah, this is embarrassing. It's interesting how you have more followers in Twitter but don't tune into your streams. Yeah, I mean, typically stream to Twitter follower ratios are very small. When Matt Kim does a stream, for example, I noticed that, like, he's got like 100,000 followers just on YouTube alone, right? Or maybe even more than that. Let me see. let's see. Yeah, he's got 129K followers on YouTube. But then when I was noticing like his lives, they only had like in real time, they only had like 900 to 1,000 viewers. Maybe even less. So that's like a 100 to 1 kind of drop off, right? So, I guess I'm saying that I'm doing pretty well since I've only got 640 followers on this YouTube, and I feel like I get like 50 to 1, right? I get like 12 to 15 people coming in on the streams. So I guess on that metric, maybe I am performing at par. But yes, I don't have, obviously, I mean, that might be a branding issue too, because, this is the Yellow Knight podcast and people might not know that that's my thing, blah, blah, blah. I do try to tweet it though every time, but I'm not sure how, YouTube, obviously like X or Twitter or whatever, downranks any sort of YouTube link in the algorithm. So I'm not sure how effective that is. But whatever, show goes on. Gotta say it. Gotta keep doing it. Matt Kim is sus. I said it. I mean, I think, he's definitely not a communist, obviously. I think but I don't think he's controlled by any sort of entity, if that makes sense. I think that he's just genuinely like, what his thoughts are his thoughts. And I think that, I still like to talk with the Matt Kim because I feel like he doesn't have the same agenda as the American government per se, which I believe is just pure imperialism. And I don't know. Still look up to him as like kind of like he's helped me out with some stuff before, so we'll never fully turn against Mr. Kim. But I understand the sentiment. I mean, like, obviously, like, he was supporting Trump. But he's also one of the few people to turn against that support very quickly after the election. And it was apparent what Trump was not keeping his promises. Sup, holy cow. Checking in, SAR. Thank you for checking in. Wait, why is this... Oh. Wait. Why is this not... Wait, is this not the right one? God damn it. Oh, what the fuck? No wonder. No wonder I was like, what the hell is going on here? You use what all the time? Starside. Why did that happen like that? That's annoying. All right, here we go. There we go. Now you can see the chat. I don't know why I don't know what's going on there. Actually, I kind of know, but it's going to take too long to explain it. You use what all the time? Starside? ChatGPT? Grok? Cloud? I don't know. Anyhow, I just saw today, interesting bit of news. Mr. Thiel, has moved to Argentina, apparently, with moving his entire family. I didn't even know he had children. I don't know how I really feel about people who aren't able to procreate to have the ability to adopt children. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, because well, it presupposes a supply of adopted children, right? So it's just kind of like, the ideal, the optimal is for families to raise their own children, right? And so the growth of that, I guess the growth of adoption from LGBTQ people or whatever, of children will probably create corruption, and then like a market for this kind of thing. This is kind of thing that happened in South Korea already, even with regular adoption, right? In South Korea, as part of the fascist terrorist government, they regularly kidnapped children of leftists and sold them abroad as punishment or threats to leftists in South Korea. But they also kind of like were corrupt with orphanages as well, creating conditions that, created a lot of orphans, right? Because they continued the Comfort Women program under Park Chung-hee, creating a whole bunch of prostitutes, and now you have a whole bunch of unwanted children, right? And so a lot of these children were shipped off to places like Sweden or America, obviously. That's why you have a lot of Hapa, adoptees in Sweden, because, back when the Comfort Women's system was being continued, well, there was a lot of unwanted Hapa babies, right, from these pregnancies. And so those went to orphanages, and those were then, sold to the highest bidder, right? So South Korea just selling people, selling prostitution, selling the children from the prostitution. They made it a whole industry. They also did stuff like separate twins from birth. They didn't really care about like the real psychological nature of adoption and the potential kind of effects of it. They really didn't give a shit about that. They just wanted money. And so that became this whole industry, this corrupt adoption industry in South Korea. And it's only really being litigated in recent times, in the past 10 years. And so I don't even know how I got into this tangent, but yeah, Peter Thiel having a family is sus. Especially, not just the gay thing, but being Peter Thiel. I use it all. Oh, you use Jeet all the time. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that's a thing too. Like, I feel like a lot of people think that I'm just like racist and like calling out everyone, blah, 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 whatever. Like, oh, he's so racist. He says Jeet or whiteoid or, nigga or blah, blah, blah. It's like more like I don't give a fuck about any of that shit, which is why I just say all that shit to be like, fuck you. If you're going to be racist to Asians and there's no recourse, I don't fucking give a shit about racism anymore, That's how I fucking feel about it. And the other thing too is that like non-white minorities in America, they don't have a connection to racism because racism is a tool used by capitalist societies to control people. And as such, it is part of the established order. And so I cannot, no matter how racist I am to anyone, it doesn't affect them, right? Like, I could say the N-word 100 billion times to, somebody who lives in New York, let's say, who's black or whatever. They could just, like, block me or mute me, and it doesn't matter, right? Like, what damage did I cause to that black person in New York by saying the N-word, right? Not that I'm going to say it because I don't believe in it, and I know the context behind it, like especially the hard R version, right? I do say the soft A version, but I don't use it to reference black people. I use it to reference people I consider, the equivalent, right? Like in Zoolander when he's like, I say brother not as a real brother, but in the way African Americans use it to describe their friends, It's just kind of like the same fucking concept. It's like such... Like, no, like especially when black K-pop stans are all on fucking K-pop, for like using Niga in the 90s as like that guy. Do you think that Fly to the Sky writer or singer was actually thinking like, oh, I hate that black guy that was stealing my girlfriend or whatever? It's like, there were no black people in fucking South Korea. They were usually just fucking imitating black music. Remember the thing you said they were culturally appropriating? They were actually just culturally appropriating for themselves to use with themselves. Like, how does that logic not fucking... You you have the logic to say, okay, they stole black music. They stole black, whatever. Yes, they did. And they used it in the same way black people used it with each other. They weren't like, hey, let's steal black music. And also, the way we're going to use these words like Niga or whatever is to make fun of black people instead of, the functionality of that word in the song was to like be like that. Come on, that nigga, like fuck that nigga, like fuck that guy that stole my girlfriend. It's just like fucking like nonsensical. I don't even know why I'm going at this tangent. Anyway, I guess Starside thing, right? The Jeet. But I mean, like, obviously you guys know I'm not, racist. I'm more, actually, I take back that statement. I'm not racist in the white supremacist paradigm of racism, right? I'm not racist in that, like, in the 19th century, all the race theories that the West came up with, from dick size to skull size to, fucking, I don't know, whatever it is, whatever the case may be, right? These fucking Germans and these French scientists, right? Whatever shit they came up with, obviously I'm not a proponent of that shit because that shit says that I have a small dick. So why would I be a fucking white supremacist, you dumb fuck? But what I do believe in is that your material conditions and the group dynamics that you grew up with do have a very large impact on your cultural development, right? I mean, if you're a black person in Baltimore and I knew you were a black person from Baltimore and I would expect certain things, right? Like, no matter how you turned out. I mean, like, I'm sure there are successful people from Baltimore. I'm not saying that there aren't, but I'm saying there are certain things I probably can guess, right? And be fairly accurate about. Same thing of like an Asian from Japan, right? A Japanese person from Japan and an Asian American from the Bay Area, right? There are certain things that aren't really racist. They're more locationist, right? They're more environmentalists. This is what I call the crucible race theory, right? And that kind of goes into like, why there are so many black people in basketball and why there are so many Asians in higher education. It comes from the culture, right? From day one, when Asian Americans come to this country, they're all told, you got to be a fucking doctor, right? Or that's one of the goals, right? You got to have enough education, hopefully to become a doctor, maybe a lawyer, and third place engineer, right? This was the story for the longest time. Obviously, it's a little bit changed now since there's management consulting, these tech jobs or whatever, obviously, et cetera, but those were the fucking, like, so when children from a young age are like, okay, that's the show, that's the fucking pinnacle, that's the goal of what I'm trying to accomplish in these first 18 years of my life. Yeah, they're gonna fucking like crush these fucking SATs. They're gonna fucking crush everything in existence. It's not because they're just Asian genetically. It's because they were told by their parents, hey, when you look like this, you can't be a fucking NBA star. You can't be a movie star. You can't be a fucking, like, rock star. You know, you can't be in politics, really. So what avenue is available to you? Well, the one where you can study. You study your ass off and you become a fucking doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, right? Same thing with fucking black people, right? Why are there so many black? Well, they learn from a young age. These white people, you know, even though I do everything to succeed in their whiteoid, you know, institutions, they try to block me at every turn. But what's this? Oh, wait, they can't do music like we do. They can't do sports like we do. Oh, there's these billionaire, millionaire Michael Jacksons, you know, in the 1980s, Michael Jacksons of the world, that fucking make money hand over fist selling to the fucking music to the whiteoid, right? You had, like, these NBA stars like Jordan just making, like, billions of dollars, like, with his sneakers. You think those kids in the those 1980s black people were like, oh, fuck. In order to get rich in America, as a black person, I can either be a drug dealer, you know, watching on the Crips and Bloods during the fucking 1980s with the Contra drugs, with the Nicaraguan, you know, cocaine or whatever, or I can be a basketball player, or I can be, you know, football player or whatever, blah, 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 whatever these athletes or entertainers, I can be that. I'm good enough to be that, and there's a path to success here that I see, and I'm going to take this path. That's why you have all these black people trying to fucking, you know, in the hood trying to play ball, right? They've all played ball because they want to at least see if they can measure up, right? You know, some of them might not even, like, have been like, I don't want to play this, whatever. But then they're like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at it. And so I can make a lot. That was Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady didn't actually like playing basketball. He wanted to play baseball. But he saw that, oh, shit, I'm actually really fucking good at basketball. So I need to just do that, you know? And it's just kind of like, this is crucible race theory. It's like, what has the negative dialectic of racism done to you to shape your personality and your behavior and what you are doing, right? The negative dialectic of anti-Asian racism was you can't be a rock star, you can't be fucking, you know, an artist, you can't be, you know, anything except for these three things. That's your path to success. You can do the stuff that we did, right? You can fucking run dry cleaning businesses and Chinese restaurants and fucking whatever. But I'm guessing you don't want to do that. So if you want to succeed better than we did, then that's the way you got to go. You dumb fuck. Right? This is what, like, Asian parents were told by their, you know, they were like, what are you doing? You know? And me, like a fucking idiot, was like, no, that's, I don't want to do what all the other Asians are doing. I'm going to be, you know, an actor. I'm going to be whatever. I'm going to be a musician. You know, this was me in high school, right? And now I'm like, fuck me. Why didn't I just go into medicine like my parents told me to? I'd have a stable life, probably. Wouldn't be thinking about any of this communist shit. And I'd probably move back to China by now with my family. I don't fucking know. I'm just... And it's like the black person. They're just like, you know, it's the racism, right? It's when they made Black Wall Street, they got killed in Oklahoma, right? That was the Oklahoma fucking massacre, Black Wall Street. So they were like, even when we play by the rules, they still don't let us win. So what do? They go into all these things where they were able to get their money up, right? The only problem with that is that the Jews control a lot of those things. But that's for another matter. Anyhow, Michael Jordan too wanted to play baseball. I don't think he wanted to play it as much as T Mac though. I think he kind of like it was more because his father was really a big baseball person. So I think after, especially his father passed away, or was killed, right? I think it was probably a little bit of guilt associated with that as well, because they killed his father because he was driving in the car that his son had bought for him, and it was a fancy car, and so I'm sure there was a little bit of guilt in that outcome, and so I think that's why MJ was like, all right, I'm playing baseball now. I've proven everything I could in basketball. And I feel like if he retired in 93 and that was it, he would still be regarded as maybe not the greatest of all time, probably like, Kobe level or Magic level, right? But he did come back again, won another 3, and was like, see, I can still do it, right? I don't get baseball, kind of boring to watch. I got into baseball, like all things, like most of the things I get into. I got into baseball because there was this girl I liked, and she was into the Yankees, and that was one of the motivations. But baseball is kind of like, I mean, all sports are about the edges, right? They're about the, you know, athletes are playing these games to the level where like minor, very subtle differences are the key to victory, right? And I think baseball, it's hard to watch because those subtleties are very hard to pick up on for casual people. Um, Especially in a sport like baseball where outcomes are very rare, right? Like, a good batter will hit 300, and that's 30% of their at bats they'll hit. And like, 10% of the time they'll generate a walk. It's a 40% chance that they will get on base, right? So that's a really good player, right? So then, but it's hard to see that because 60% of the time they are not getting on base, right? 60% of the time they fail, right? The majority of the time, every batter is failing, right? So it's hard to kind of like understand the skill involved, and you're kind of like only seeing the skill of the pitcher. But then you're not even seeing kind of like the luck factor in that as well. But if you watch enough baseball, you kind of like understand the iterations and understand why certain moments are significant, like a home run, for example, or what the pitcher is feeling pressure-wise when there are 2 people on base and like 1 out or 0 outs or something like that, right? You kind of like have to have familiarity with kind of like some of the really like situational stuff that these athletes are kind of like computing in their minds as they go into more tough situations. Like no one's like interested if they're doing routine things like striking out or all 3 batters are hitting, right? But then the tension comes when there are people on base, and what the score is and what the inning is, and the drama behind that. But I myself have not regularly watched baseball since like I want to say 2015, 2016. I want to see, when did yeah, 2016 was when A-Rod retired. And I think I even stopped watching maybe even a little before that. I was more watching LeBron and the NBA by then. That was kind of like, and Mariano Rivera, one of my favorite Yankees, or the favorite Yankee, I guess, retired in 2013. And so, wait, why isn't this fucking... Oh, so somebody said on Twitch, are you called the Yellow Knight because you're yellow? How much Jewish cock have you had in your mouth tonight, sir? I say the hard R. That is kind of funny, considering how much I say goy slop on the internet. They think that I'm pro-Jewish. Willow is my favorite Jew. That's the name of the guy. That's kind of funny. It's but I don't know if you stuck around. I don't think you've stuck around. I don't think this was 6:48, so it's 20 minutes ago. So probably didn't stick around, but I am very surprised. I don't know what I said that would make anyone think that I am pro-Jewish or pro-Zionist in the past 30 minutes. But okay. Twitch tard indeed. That's why I don't even like I don't even get mad anymore at people who try to like fucking, get a rise out of me, especially if they're stupid. I used to, right? In 2020, 2021, I'd fucking fight everyone, right? And I still kind of fight everyone on the internet, but if they don't really have a lot of followers and what they're saying is retarded, I just now what I just do in the past 2-3 years, I just say, okay, retard, and then I just mute them. I don't even block them because I don't want to give them the satisfaction of a block. And then they usually keep commenting. But I've already checked out. So it's funnier to me because now I've wasted their time more than they've wasted my time. And some of them will start following me too because they are so triggered by that experience. They want to keep fucking trolling me because they think that because they got the okay retard response from me once, they can get it again by annoying me. But little did they know they've been muted already. And so they just keep commenting on my posts, giving more and more engagement. And I'm just like, thanks, retard. See, it's just kind of figuring out how to make retarded people work for you instead of wasting your time. Why not just convert them, sublate them into your minions? All right, there we go. Let's see. Let's catch up with some of this chat. Peter Thiel, gay fascism. I mean, German leaving for Argentina, and the SA stormtroopers known for their very, what I realized, funny thing I realized, when I was researching the WMA stuff, I'm, how many words in am I? I am 6,000 words in. It's actually harder than I thought writing this shit because I'm actually discovering a lot of shit as I go. So I might have to push my deadline. I know I said end of the month I'll have the video out, but I think I was just trying to fucking force myself. But I think while that was accomplished, I am kind of now being more realistic about the timeline. I think this is a lot more research than I thought I needed to do. Anyway, but I was researching the comfort women stuff, right? Because I think that's a big, huge source of the WMA fine virus, in my opinion, and you'll see why once I come out with it. But I was thinking about that, right? Like Japan had the kind of like, they were like, okay, in 1931 was the Mukden incident, right? And um, the the reason why that was kind of embarrassing for them, even before the rape of Nanjing, there was a lot of rape involved in that as well in 1931 and 1932 with the Kwangtung Army. So there was a lot of kind of like global sort of like, even from the West, sort of like condemnation, like, what is that? What is that all about? Like, why are you guys like fucking barbaric? This is like, you guys are just like openly raping people. You're not even like hiding it. You're like doing it proudly. You're like doing it as if it's like a war tactic. And so I think the Japanese government was like, all right, well, our project is to take over China, right? We're going to have a lot more military operations in the future in order to do that. So we're going to need to beef up our army and beef up our kind of like capabilities. But we also can't be raping everyone all the time, or at least openly raping them, right? We don't want the fucking rank and file to ruin our reputation on the world stage. So what do? Right? They create this comfort women stuff in 1932. And then they expanded it in 1937. 1937 was the rape of Nanjing. They got a whole bunch of fucking flack for that. So they expanded the comfort women. They were like, all right, we gotta make comfort women stations everywhere we go, because these fucking rank and file can't stop fucking raping people. We gotta put them in we gotta make rape factories for them so they stop raping people in view of the entire fucking world, right? The comfort women stuff was literally to stop their men from raping people in public, right? But I was thinking about that, right? I'm thinking about that. And I'm thinking about the SA and the SS, right? I was thinking like, wait a second. There was a whole lot of stormtroopers very early on, right? In the 1920s, working for Hitler. And not once was he like, hey, I think we need some prostitutes to keep these guys happy. I think we need some prostitute stations. The Wehrmacht needs prostitute stations to, not be all rapey. And not to say that the Wehrmacht, obviously, they've raped people or whatever. I'm not saying that didn't happen. But it was like, oh, I guess, the need for this is not as strong as it is in Japan, apparently. I wonder why that might be. And, you're just kind of like reading about Greece. You're reading about how they were all pederasts. You're reading about how Schopenhauer was like wondering, wait, there might be something to this pederasty thing if the Greek people were so into it. And then you read about Nietzsche, about like how he was like all into the Greek people, right? And how he wanted to create a Greek society, recreate kind of like a Greek-esque society for Europe, and you're just kind of like, wait a second. And then you look at Peter Thiel, a gay German capitalist, fascist. And you're just kind of like, wow, that's interesting. I was doing some research too on homosexuality, or just like non-straight kind of like sexuality in general. In America, apparently a good quarter of people who are, not straight have been sexually abused in their childhood. And so this kind of like makes me think that, there's a different sort of component to homosexuality that isn't just based on choice, right? it's more shaped by, again, I'm trying to do crucible race theorem or negative dialectic ism, right? And it's just kind of like, why isn't anyone talk about that factor, right? I don't know. I mean, I guess people do, but whatever. Anyway, egg donor surrogacy. I guess that's probably, maybe that's what they did. But I feel stuff about that as well. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is also gay. He had a hand in Asian financial crisis. Well, there you go. Also, J.D. Vance, rumored to be all these fucking Nazis. Yay! They're woke in a Zionist hypochondriac kind of way. Yeah, aren't there like a lot of gay pride stuff in Israel too, and like gay raves? It's just kind of like, makes you wonder what the progressiveness about gayness is, or if it's progressive at all. VP's got to be puppeteered up his ass by his mentor. Yeah, I think what happened too, I mean, it's not my own interpretation. I haven't been following Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance as much as other people do, because like I don't really care about, electoral politics as much. But some people have been saying that like J.D. Vance, he made an exploratory kind of like thing about, 2028, basically found out there's no chance in hell he's going to win. And Thiel was like, yeah, it's time to get the fuck out, because I'm not going to own the horse that actually wins this thing. So that might be a little bit of going into his decision there. Ranting or not, it feels like destiny. We Asians have been far too. We do whatever the fuck feels right. Oh yeah. Got into baseball. Oppa duties. No investigation. No right to LARP. Peter Thiel anagram is Pete Hitler. That's actually pretty crazy. Yeah, I can see it. You just carry the R over to the Thiel. I think YouTube censored my post. No, I saw it. And the Israeli soldiers raping Palestinians, a lot of them were men too. History repeat. Speak of the Japs' rapey past. I wonder how much of the correlation it has with the majority of female JAV performers. Well, I guess I'll share a little bit of the research that I've been doing. So immediately after the war in 1945, the Japanese were kind of like, some of this was propaganda, but some of it was genuine. The leadership told the people that if the Westerners came, they were going to eat you, or they were going to kill you, or they were going to rape you, right? Or something like that, basically, to the public. That's why he was trying to, like, get the American public to, or the Japanese public to keep fighting, keep resisting. Like, this is the fight to the end, fight to the death, because the Americans are coming to eat us and rape us and kill us. The rationale, obviously, was we did those things, so, of course, they're going to do those things back, right? And I don't know if like leadership thought that it was going to be 100% like that, but I think part of them did think there was going to be some sort of retaliation. Especially the rape stuff. So they were like, well, we don't want our Japanese women, especially the nobility, the leadership women, to get raped. So what we'll do is we'll recreate these comfort women stations in Japan for the American military, so they don't fucking rape our women. So they literally did the comfort women stuff to their own people, to their own poor Japanese women, to just throw at these Americans. And day one when the Americans arrived in August 28th in Japan, 500 to 600 GIs lined up. They couldn't meet the demand. There was only 38 prostitutes in the beginning. They had to expand it, and at its peak they expanded their network to 55,000 prostitutes. And this was done in like a month, right? So you know their recruiting fucking tactics are gonna be sus as fuck too. You know, they're not telling these Japanese women what exactly their service is gonna be, right? Which is what they did with the actual comfort women, right? And it just goes to show that they were willing to throw their women, their poor women, as sacrifices to save themselves, right? That's basically what happened. And, you know, MacArthur stops this in the spring of 1946. So it only goes on for like, you know, half a year or so. But there's still like a lot of private prostitution that goes on, blah, blah, blah. And by then, you know, especially after the Korean War, it's now serves as the model for all these other Asian countries to be like, hey, how do we, you know, because all these Asian countries like Korea, Vietnam, you know, Philippines, Indonesia, whatever, the side that wants to ally with America, they're usually the traitors of the country, right? And they know that without American power, they're fucked because they would get run over by the rest of the people. So they want American military power in their countries, right? So these people themselves, these leaderships of these fucking countries, like South Korea or South Vietnam or all these other places, Thailand, Philippines, they were the ones that worked with the American government to set up these fucking rape stations. You know, they reasoned it's not the comfort women system because, you know, at least they have agency. At least they can quit, right? At least they can, you know, blah, 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 whatever. But it was the same kind of thing. And obviously, yes, probably wasn't as brutal as the Japanese comfort women system. I don't think anything in history was ever so brutal to women until that. I learned that in some cases, you know, especially during the end of the war, they were running out of condoms, so they would have to wash condoms and reuse them. Can you imagine that? Fucking crazy. And the Israeli soldiers, yeah. So anyway, someone did tell me there is a high percentage of androphobia and gynophobia from sexual trauma in the gay population. Wait, what's androphobia and gynophobia? Oh. Yeah, that makes sense, right? That makes sense. Fear of men or fear of women is because you probably were raped by an authority figure early on in your life, right? That would create that fear of that person for the rest of your life. And you know, it's only listed as 25% because that's self-reporting, right? The real number is probably a lot higher. And so it's just kind of like when the amount of gay people rises so quickly, especially in the past 10, 15 years, people are like, oh, that's only because you know, they feel safe enough to express that they're gay. They were, you know, there were that many gay people this entire time, percentage-wise. It was just that they were too afraid to express themselves. That's why there's an increase in gay people, right? That's what they say. But my suspicion is that over time, you know, especially in America, especially with its culture, there's just been a lot more probably like pedophilia and pedophilic rape by the upper classes. And we could see that, right? We could see that with the Epstein files. And this is probably going on for decades and getting like more and more like corrupt over time. And you know, if it was that much corruption, you know that there's all this stuff going on all over middle America, right? And so I think the reason there's a lot more gay people now, whatever, is due to this effect of this like sexual abuse and kind of that causes the generations to perpetuate this kind of cycle. Because the other thing about childhood sexual abuse is that people who are you know abused early are you know much more likely to be an abuser themselves. So this also perpetuates that cycle, right? But again, nobody wants to talk about these very inconvenient facts, right? Everyone's just kind of like, oh, well, gay is gay, love is love, born this way, you know, something about a bad romance, etc., etc. Grape or molasses? What's molasses? Man, I don't even know how I'm talking about these things. I got off the Peter Thiel train real quick, huh? I guess it's just like Peter Thiel. I mean, it's just like so. It's like so funny how clearly fucking evil he is. And the fucking American public can't put two and two together about it. He's like openly evil, you know? It's like, dude calls his fucking company Palantir and talks about the Antichrist all the time. Like, what is this person? It's like a comic book villain. I think it's like so absurd how evil he is. Maybe people are like, no one could be that evil. I don't believe. That's just comic book evil. That's just like whatever. It's like, what? You know? I was just kind of like, what is he going to name his next venture? Satan's Synagogue? Oh, man. I mean, it is kind of funny, you know? He ticks all the boxes. German, you know, going to Argentina, Palantir. It's just like how many more medals of evil do you need for people to realize this person is fucking evil? How many more fucking like signposts? How many more fucking signposts on your face, on Peter Thiel's head, does the American public need? What the fuck? Why is it doing that? Peter Thiel's next endeavor, Project HIV. Argentina is convenient for Thiel too because of the president is a star country shill. Of course. Of course. Like it's I don't know. I keep doing this stuff, you know. I guess you know, in the past, it's interesting actually. In the past month or so, I think I've gained around 600, 700 followers. Something is happening, I guess. So maybe I shouldn't be too, like, black-pilled about everything. But it's just also just kind of like, man, like, how are people still not understanding how this all works right now? Like, why are we talking about fucking black representation in anime and K-pop still? Like, are we fucking serious right now? Like, are we fucking, like, why are people so fucking retarded? You know? Especially, like, black liberals, right? Or Hispanic liberals, or basically BIPOC liberals, right? Well, I know why they're stupid. They're not stupid. They're fucking opportunists, right? They're just exploiting their own people for their political positions or their, you know, media positions, etc., etc. They were clever enough to be able to do that. Wait, why don't I think I need to live chat that. But the rank and file, right? The rank and file, black and Latino, when they listen to these fucking retards, the reason why is because black and Hispanic liberals, or BIPOC liberals, or whatever the fuck you want to call them, what they do is they represent politics as a closed circle around America. Everything else outside of America doesn't exist to these BIPOC liberals. That's why they hate talking about Israel, because they were bought by Israel. The Zionists bought them during the civil rights movement. So they're always there to protect Zionism and Israel and Jews, because that's where their bread is buttered, right? So their goal is to keep their black and Latino or their BIPOC communities in this closed loop circle. So they only contextualize things under the American sort of political structure. This is why they have so many retarded takes, why black K-pop stans or black anime fans are the most fucking retarded people. They're like, wait, why isn't there black people representation in anime? Meanwhile, there's black American anime comic book creators, and you know what they say about them? Oh, that's LARP. That's sus. That's not real anime. So you have these fucking retarded black fucking anime stans whining about the fact that Japan, historically like 0.01% black, you know, never had black people there at all, except for fucking retarded LARP kanging Yasuke bullshit. You have a country that never really had a lot of black people in it, or really knows about, you know, like really like cares about, you know, black American history, right? They have no reason to fucking care about that shit. You have these creators, these anime creators who are just writing their stories. You know, obviously there is a lot of white glazing, but that's because the whites cut them, right? They have an experience with that so that they can write about how they were, you know, fucking cucked to the white man, or their art shows their cuckery to the white man just by an extension of being who they are. But there was no equivalent cucking from the black man. There was no equivalent good thing from the black man or whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's no reason why anime creators even would think about black people other than trying to like create an anime that takes place in the United States or something like that, right? And they have plenty of shit like that too in video games. Like Hideo Kojima puts a whole bunch of black people, you know? He doesn't even put fucking Asian people in his fucking video games. Like, Asian people should be more mad at fucking Japs than black people should be. You dumb fucks. And then And then on top of that, when a black anime creator in America tries to make shit and tries to make good shit, whatever, they say that's sus. They say that's LARP. So it's like you are already fucking killing the thing that you want in the cradle. You know? It kind of reminds me, actually, of 2014. You know? 2014 was when 2014 was when The Great Wall of China came out with Matt Damon. 2014 was when the Scarlett Johansson Ghost on the Shell movie came out. People were, you know, people in, especially the Asian American and Hollywood community, were beside themselves. They were like, what is this? This is, you know, cultural appropriation. This is, you know, racism. This is blah, blah, blah. This is, you know, we should be represented. What is this stuff? Etc., etc., whatever. Blah, 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 right? And so, you know, I was like, yeah, we need more stuff with Asian people in it, right? We need more Asian creators. So what are we going to do? I was like, in 2015, I was like, well, how about, since I have enough capital to produce my own thing, what if I made a show that starred Asian Americans, had other cast members who were Asian Americans, had a crew that was mostly Asian Americans, had most of the creative team be Asian Americans, and make a really fucking good product, and, you know, be like, yeah, we're doing this, right, guys? And then they were like, no, we don't want that shit because it isn't Star Wars, it isn't Marvel, it isn't fucking this already established white-oid IP we've already, like, want to glaze and want to be a part of. That's the fucking rub. These fucking people who want representation, what they want is to be represented in a white world. What they want is to be represented in a Japanese world. What, right? They don't... The reason why is because they're so fucking mentally cucked. They so fucking hate themselves that they actually are white supremacists in a way. They just want to become white. You know? It sounds crazy, but if you think about it, they are inverting their own identity. Right? They're saying my identity as black or my identity as Asian is only as valuable as how it is conceived in white American society or Japanese society. Right? This is what they are fundamentally cocked. This is why they are fundamentally in a colonial mindset. And this is like the stuff that Kanye was talking about too. Right? This is like, you guys all have a slave mentality. A lot of this was coming from Nietzsche, his reading of Nietzsche and stuff like that. But a lot of it was probably, it rang true to me, you know? Because, like, again, I'm not just talking about the black community, right? This is endemic to any sort of fucking minority community in the West. If you are not white, you have some of this fucking white supremacy inside of you. There is no fucking person who exists in the West that isn't slightly white supremacist or had programming to be white supremacist from birth, right? People are always like, oh, Asians just want to be white so bad, but, me as a black person, that's not what I did. That's not what our people did. We were always, like, anti-white. It's like, no, you weren't. What do you think fucking Uncle Toms were? What do you think, fucking light-skinned black people being more popular than dark-skinned black people was all about, huh? What do you think about all that? You think that, what do you think about Brown versus Board of Education, showing that black children naturally gravitated towards white dolls versus black dolls. What do you fucking say about that? Everyone, like, this is the fucking thing. Like, black people think by virtue of their blackness that they have always been on the side of anti-white supremacy. And it's like, that is not true at all. That's just fucking not true. Immediately after the Civil War, black Americans signed up to be Buffalo Soldiers to wipe out the fucking Native Americans. That's the fucking truth. That's a thing. That's why the black liberal hates Malcolm X. Because Malcolm X was the first person to really connect the dots. You know, W.B. Du Bois tried to connect the dots, but he was fucking retarded because he glazed Imperial Japan. Malcolm X got it right, right? He was a fan of fucking China. He was like, the only reason Chinese people are coming up right now, Asian people are coming up right now, is because they can't fuck with China. Once, you know, Africa becomes strong enough that they can't fuck with Africa, then they're going to start respecting the black man. And 60 years later, what do we find? Right? He was right. Right? Asia came up. China came up. Even the other, you know, the other tigers, South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, Singapore. You know, they came up because America knew that they needed them to come up to be a buffer against China, right? They needed them to develop so that they could take care of China's threat, right? But what was the result? Well, the result is that now you have black people wanting to be fucking Japanese, right? You have your own people trying to be what they've already accomplished. And so that's why the white liberal hates Malcolm X. Because Malcolm X got out of this fucking American bubble and was like, no, this is how it is all around the fucking world. This is what happens. Zionists control this shit. That's the last thing he wrote. Zionists control this shit, and then he was fucking killed. Like, how do people not connect these fucking dots by now? Anyway. Let's see. Wasn't Argentina a country where all the Nazis... Yeah, exactly. That is where they all fled to, through Italy. There were CIA connections in Italy with James Jesus Angleton, who aided a lot of those fucking fucks to get the fuck out and escape. That's actually where Adolf Eichmann was, right? The Holocaust guy, SS. And then only after the Katzner trial, which showed like Eichmann's kind of like culpability in the Holocaust, only after that in 57 or 58, they went after Eichmann, right? Mossad kidnaps him, takes him back to Israel, tries him for his crimes, and executes him, right? That was in 1961. 1962. They had a fucking full 16 years to kill this motherfucker. They knew where he was. You know, don't tell me Mossad, CIA, whatever, weren't working together and knew where this motherfucker was. They knew where Adolf Eichmann was this entire fucking time for 16 years. Only when it was revealed that Zionists were working with Eichmann were they like, oh, we got to take this guy out. You got to make sure he doesn't say shit about this. Congrats on the followers. Oh, I'm not really like, you know, followers are just like, you know, they're good, right? I more see followers as a means to an end rather than an end in itself. Um, of course, if I make like, if I get like hundreds of thousands of followers and I can live off just tweeting, that'd be cool too. I'm not saying that I won't enjoy that. Obviously, I would. But, yeah, I don't know. Doug, you see the new Call of Duty game? North Korea are the baddies. China should definitely, like, if I was China, I would make the fucking sickest Korean war game ever. I would make the fucking, it would have all the special effects. It would have all the features. It would be fucking amazing. Man. I don't know why. I need to fucking work for China. China, if you're watching, yes, I'm available. Just fucking hire me. I will do your propaganda for you. I have so many ideas. I know the white-oyed mind, okay? I know the white-oyed mind left and right. Just fucking hire me. I'll do it for fucking free. Just let me live in China and not be, killed by white-oyeds or these white-oyed Nazis. And I'll work for you for fucking free. Just you guys are just not doing the right stuff right now. God. I could manage your soft power so well if it was me. Black weaves are the worst. Yeah, exactly. Great Wall with Matt Damon. So disappointed in Zhang Yimou. I don't know. Is that the director? We need Asian male creators. Asian female creators. It's produced by us. I mean, I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. I tried already, rather. I try to make fucking music videos that kind of like was making fun of Asians or whatever, Asian Americans. Try to make a TV show. Talked about all this shit. If anyone has tried the hardest for Asian American fucking media, I think that person is fucking me. Right? Like, who else has tried harder than I have? Yasuke, Afro Samurai. It's something about libs because I don't doubt any OG, whether they're black, white, brown, whatever, has a problem with Goku's skin color. I agree with... Well, the thing about Dragon Ball is just... It's literally based on Chinese lore, right? It's based on Asian lore. It's not like, I agree with Dugan. White is nihilist identity no one should aspire to. Yeah, Dugan tails me. Didn't we establish that? You guys didn't even... Dugan copies my fucking... Just like... oh, God. Why is this not working? Like, he writes, the Israeli people think they are God. We are now in the intersection of different axes at the end of time. The eyes of Shia, Israel, and Zionism is Dajjal, and the eyes of Zionists, blah, 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 blah. So I said, like I said before, Dugan tails me. Nazi and Zionists alike never agreed on the concept of white supremacy. They just disagreed on who was to be the victor between the two to capture its spoils. And then he says, what does it mean to be white? Almost nothing except physical looks. There's no sacred values, no religion, no roots, just economic success and capitalist greed. There's no more reason to be white. The globalism is created and implemented by whites. Zionists are the white people of white people. How much more elegant is this? This is just like infinitely more elegant, in my opinion. Anyway. I've already covered how Dugan tails me, not the other way around, all right? I mentally checked out of most, if not all, American entertainment, including Asian America, before 2008. Well, congratulations. I guess you don't have mind virus. Indoctrination. What was a house Negro, huh? It's just so funny. It's like liberals like to pretend like history stopped like a month ago. History started a month ago, rather, right? That's what they always try to do. They're like, history just starts whenever we want it to start, right? Black people's anti-whiteness trapped in with sure. Yeah, that's like black people's anti-whiteness is thinking analytically rather than dialectically, right? It's thinking because A is good or because A is bad, its opposite, not A, must be good, right? So it's like because white people are bad, black people must be good. And it's like, no, that's not how fucking reality works, right? That's the fucking dialectic or the fake dialectic of fucking like Zionism. It's like because we were oppressed by Nazis, we deserve some sort of positive compensation for that, right? Doesn't matter who the compensation comes from, but we deserve it, right? Doesn't matter if it comes from Palestinians who had nothing to do with fucking, you know, this negative dialectic or negative thing that we experienced. We just deserve positive because if you don't agree, you just want us to. You are just the negative dialectic. You are the Nazis, right? That's the fucking argument that they try to fucking say all the time. It's the same thing with black people. It's like because these white people fucked with us for so long, we deserve reparations. We deserve whatever, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter if it comes from Koreans or Japanese or Asian people in general. Doesn't matter if we can just fucking, you know, go to their stores and steal everything we want and, you know, get nail services and flip out on the bill all the time. You know, it doesn't matter. We deserve that because, you know, and if you don't agree, you're anti-black. This is actually what the fucking black community did in 2020, 2021 to Asian Americans. They're basically like, if you don't agree, you're anti-black. If you don't agree that we should be able to fucking just loot your stores and you shouldn't call the police about it, you're anti-black. This is literally the fucking logic they were saying to us. I'm not even fucking exaggerating. Like, you could play the tape. You could play the fucking tape in that time. Do you not read? Oh, blacks call light skin black high yellow? What's high yellow? I heard it for the first time. Have you seen the old videos of Haas roasting WMF Luna Oi? I haven't seen him roasting. I knew they had beef, but I don't know. I didn't really see the videos. But I did. Again, what do we find? What do we find? What do we fucking find here? Haas writes, in 2021, you mean women of color who literally date white men? Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Run back to your white masters. Wow! It seems that Mr. Haas Aldine is calling out the WMAF mind virus here. Is he not? He's basically saying, if you are a woman of color dating a white man, you are now mentally cucked to that white man. That is your white master. Right? Is this not the fucking theory of the WMAF mind virus right here? Right here. Right fucking here, you dumb fucking infrared pieces of shit. Get the fuck off my dick. Your own fucking Haas says the same shit I do. Bitch. That's what I'm fucking talking about. All these fucking white-oid motherfuckers. They try to, like, you know, clown on me for whatever all this shit. And I'm like, your fucking leader said the same thing, you dumb fuck. So get the fuck off my dick. Fuck yeah. What's fuck yeah? Flashback to when Battlefield 4 made China the bad guys. You guys know about the Red Dawn thing, right? That was also in 2012. It was like a remake of... So Red Dawn was a 1980s film about random Soviet invasion into like this fucking white-oyed, you know, middle America town, and the town, like, you know, fights off the invasion, and, you know, they save the day or some bullshit, right? They made a remake with China in 2012. And then they were like, oh shit, we want kind of Chinese money. There's a lot of Chinese money in that film market. So they literally use CGI to change all the Chinese stuff to DPRK. You guys know about that? It's Red Dawn, if you want to look that up. Play not only as a PLA, but the KPA too. Jamming to Chinese Korean Patriot song would be good in BGM. Yeah. Journey to the West, Sun Goku equals Sun Wukong. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Dugan lurking in chat right now. We still talking about Russian Jiang. I mean, yeah, he's Russian Jiang. There is a game made by China right now, Korean War. Oh, it's called Korean War. I think there's an upcoming one. Roughly translates to Warrior said a goodbye to Hanmu. Oh, okay, cool. I'll look it up. Yo, David Tay, getting in from work. What's up? How was your day? Did you get more leads stolen by a certain group of people? North Korea for the win. Lamau. Yeah, I remember that bullshit. What bullshit again? I don't even fucking know. I'm so behind. You guys have to be a little bit more. When you comment, you have to say what the thing you're talking about is. Did you see the new anti? Oh, okay. Did you see the new anti-Juche Call of Duty? Oh, somebody already said that. Starside. That's why we were talking about it. But yeah. No worries. I'm just being a little bitch. A day after I left, they called all my clients saying I left. What the fuck, man? I fucking oh god. Maybe I don't want to come back to New York. I don't know. God, it's just so annoying dealing with these kinds of people, you know? It's just like, God, you're just so fucking Zionist. You know? Zionist is like a state of mind. You know? Of just fucking like... just being this fucking total narcissist, selfish, parasite piece of shit. Get a farm? To be honest, I could never do the farm life. I say that I gotta move away, blah blah blah, whatever, from LA or New York. But I would never survive in rural America, or rural anywhere, really. To be honest, I think I would get too stir crazy. I just want to be where the action is. But yeah, poker tables are open. That casino near the airport open? What was it called again? It was like Resorts World, right? New York City. I don't see the poker stuff here yet, though. Are you sure they have poker yet? It's not on their website. Oh, they don't have a live poker room yet, though. Maybe once I get there, I guess. They have live dealer table games, blackjack, craps, baccarat, roulette, launch in spring. Plans exist for a dedicated live poker room, but it's not yet open. LA to Vegas is a 4-hour drive. For me, it's actually a little bit longer because I live all the way on the west. It usually takes me around 4:30, 4.5 or 5. But full poker room remains in future phases of their expansion. I feel like they said they were going to do it by end of the year, though. NYC is chill if you have good friends. Hard to meet new friends as we get older. Yeah. And it's even harder to meet new friends in LA, I would say. Poker community included comments. I hear end of the year for poker. So I think like it should be before the end of the year. I don't know. Have you been to Resorts World yet, David? But there's an infrared video on Haas dissing Luna. It explains the commercial report. Stars a meme. Title is Inflammable. Oh no, I've seen. I kind of know. The infrared thing with. Luna Oi, and her anarchist boyfriend. I already know all the history behind that. What I take issue with is his good friend Homophagalus, who was not treating it as a meme, but was actively trying to spread propaganda that Pol Pot was actually good, which did affect a lot of the infrared people to actually believe that he was good. And that is not a question for me. Lost 200 for blackjack. I see. What were you? Who were you? Oh, were you with your like ex-girlfriend then? How is it? How is the casino though? Is it like cool or is it like whatever? I don't know if you've been to. I've been to Resorts World in Vegas. Didn't Haas give props to Luna Oi for cucking her white husband? Wait, what? She cucked her husband? Nah, I went after she broke up with me. Damn, don't go to casinos after a breakup, man. That's not a good idea. Bro. Don't go to casinos when you're depressed, man. It's bad idea. Very bad idea. They will clean you out. I guess you only lost 200, so maybe it wasn't that bad, but has said yeah. Yeah. I mean, I already knew a lot of that stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Wait, he didn't use those words, right? He didn't use mind virus back then. That was my creation. That wasn't I created the WMF mind virus in 2023. He was going back and forth with Illinois in 2021, I believe. Trust me, I know a lot more of the dates and the history of all this. I've researched this stuff. Won't get into that right now, but, you know, there's nothing anyone's going to say about it that's going to convince me about this other aspect that I'm talking about. Something about her being a hidden Communist Party member in Vietnam and secretly seeing another Vietnamese communist. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, though, YH1GCG. It's like these fucking people, these fucking whiteoids of the RTSG, of infrared, these fucking anti-Asian Nazis are always trying to fucking fuck with me. And they talk about the WMF like I'm an incel or whatever, just like everyone else in liberal fucking world did. You know, same fucking liberal establishment shit that was critiquing me about being an incel or whatever because I couldn't get my dick wet, about Asian women, being all mad about this Asian woman thing. They were saying the same shit to me the entire time. Meanwhile, their fucking dear leader, Haas, was saying the same shit I was saying the fucking same time. And it's like, this is why I don't fucking fuck with these people. They're fucking disingenuous fucking fagots, you know? They're not fucking straight up. And if you're not straight up, that's it. That's like, if you're not even fucking honest about what Haas is even fucking saying, no, that you are using deception on purpose to try to win. And once you do that, you're fucking forever a fucking Nazi piece of shit cockroach that needs to be stamped out. That's right. That's what I fucking think of the RTSG. All you motherfuckers. I don't fucking care about your fucking Ruslan bitch. He talked shit about you too. That's the funny part. He talked shit about the RTSG too. You think Ruslan is your savior now? Get the fuck out of here. Argentina. What's Argentina? Something about the current Argentinian president's last name reminds me of Bibi's paternal surname. What's Bibi's paternal surname? Also, I hear the small islands across the Argentinian border in the Patagonian archipelago are quite arable. Oh, okay. Nice to know, I guess. Who are these people? Lol, I only know Haas from Doug. I mean, this is just like fucking communist drama. You don't have to if you're just here for the Asian shit, you have to think about that. Anyway, I saw he just mentioned her basically saying WMAF. Yeah, everyone steals my shit in the end. And, you know, they fucking try to denigrate me. They try to insult me because I say the shit. And then they fucking use that shit. It's happened so many fucking times. Like, there was this fucking retard who was on my ass for the longest time for being anti-black, for basically saying black people fucking are the majority of these anti-Asian hate crimes. And then 4 years later, he's fucking making fun of black people for this shit all the fucking time. And it's like, the funny thing is, this was the moment he decided I was too crazy and I need, you know, he became my enemy at that time or whatever. And it's just so fucking hilarious. Like, you can like, nobody will ever debate me straight up because of this. This is what I'm talking about. Like, they'll try to insult me, whatever, but like, push comes to shove, when it comes to actually backing their shit up, they won't. They'll fucking piss out. They'll be like, oh, well, I didn't really mean it. Oh, that was a troll. Oh, shut the fuck up. You're fucking spiritually Israeli. This is like, RTSG is fucking spiritually Israeli when they pull this sort of shit. Why do you think about Ross? Isn't he half Korean? Why is he talking smack about you? Well, that piece of shit You know why he's a piece of shit? First of all, he's a sexual fucking like predator. He, you know, he's a piece of shit because of that. He's a misogynist, obviously. And not only that, he went to boarding school in Europe. So he's actually fucking petty bourgeois himself. He's part of the elite, and he had this elite education. And now he's in South Korea being a little bitch. And he's attacking me because he's sucking white-oid cock in the RTSG. He knows that that's where his bread is buttered, right? Rev, all these people, because they're connected to Jackson and Haas. He needs to suck their cocks, right? So he's going to attack me because he sees now me as an enemy of the RTSG, right? So of course he's going to fucking suck their cocks to attack me because he has no fucking spine. He's a piece of shit. He's basically a Wasianist. These RTSGs are fucking left-wing groypers. They're left groypers. So he's a Wasianist on the other side. He thinks like because of his Eurasian identity, he's now more white. This is his fucking mentality. He's a Gordon Chang. He's a leftist Gordon Chang. That's what he fucking is. I think Haas may understand that sentiment being Lebanese. I mean, Ruslan should understand that dynamic being Persian. That's for fucking sure. Right? Bibi and Trump will be in NYC for the Knicks finals just announced. Well, I guess that'll prove that he isn't dead, if that's accurate. We'll see. Are Ross's parents WMF or AMWF? AMWF. That's why I made the Gordon Chang reference. Comrade Gordon. I actually used to watch a lot of Haz's stuff. I see the appeal, Doug. The appeal for what? I mean, you know, I liked Haz's stuff in the early goings, right? In 2022, that's when I first started to, you know, even know about Haz. I didn't even know about Haz until 2022. Like mid to late 2022. But I didn't really like watch his streams. I watched like the documentaries on his on Infrared about like the Soviet Union and all this other stuff about history, blah blah blah. I didn't really like care for his streams because like I could do my own analysis of what was going on in the world myself. And he found Haz because of the Mongol video. Well, yeah, and that to me now is LARP. Cause let's be fucking real. Somebody looks at a Haz on the street or whatever, you know, like let's say he didn't do his fucking like, you know, Arabian LARP, you know, with his sword and whatever in the fucking background, and he shaved, right? So you would think he was just another fucking whiteoid. He just like throws around, oh, I'm this Afro-Asiatic male. And it's like, bro, you're fucking white. Let's be fucking real. Nobody ever was like, I'm going to be racist to this guy in America because he looks like a Muslim. Nobody fucking said that, man. Let's be fucking real. No, don't fucking say you're Afro-Asiatic. Don't fucking like steal this valor. And on top of that, don't fucking say your homophagalis's like race theory that we're in this post-racial, hyper-racial fucking reality. Don't fucking sell that fucking whiteoid Nazi bullshit from homophagalists to us. Don't fucking try that shit. Get the fuck out of here. What's up, Wi-Fi? Needless to say, I prefer yours, dude. Thank you. Well, thank you. I actually, you know, you know what? I'm going to say it out loud. You know, 4 years ago, I was thinking about it, and now I'm thinking about it again. I'm thinking about creating my own party. That's why I'm kind of like considering once I move back to New York. it'll be called, like I said before, they call it the Yellow Tiger Party. It'll have the same sort of tenets as the Black Panther Party in 1970s, which was a Marxist-Leninist party. And it'll be centered on what actually matters to Asian Americans, right? There's nothing in the party, in any party, DSA, PSL, whatever you have, ACP, whatever. None of those parties care about the Asian diaspora. They could give a fuck if we all died. If we were all fucking put into concentration camps like the Nazis in 1933, they could give less of a fuck if that happened. So why should I give a fuck about any of them, right? Of course, I think ACP has the best line, like publicly, like they're consistent. They're more consistent with actual Marxism, Leninism, and anti-imperialism than obviously DSA and even PSL. But what fucking good is that? That's like saying, like, of course I'm, a better mathematician than most whiteoids. But am I smart enough to do fucking advanced AI and whatever? No. So if you're not even good enough to fucking take care of the actual constituency of the United States, if there's a whole section of the United States you clearly don't give a fuck about if they lived or died, like fucking 25 million people in the United States, or I don't know, whatever it is. How many Asian, like East Asian, Southeast Asian, 20 million people? I don't fucking know. If you don't even fucking care if they lived or died, then fuck you. You're not doing shit. And that's why I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm going to make my own fucking party. And, it's not going to be Asian exclusive, right? Because Black Panther Party had Japanese members. But it is going to be Asian oriented, right? It's going to center on fucking like what we actually care about, which is preventing our own fucking demise from this machine, which is trying to kill us, literally. And so, I don't know. I don't really give a fuck about the ACP anymore, to be honest. Like, just close your eyes, right? Just close your eyes for a second. Imagine the fucking revolution is happening in America. A communist revolution, not a fascist revolution, because fascist revolutions can happen too, right? That was what the March on Rome was, right? That was a fascist revolution. But imagine a communist revolution, right? Imagine a communist revolution. I've said this many times before. Imagine a communist revolution in America. Like, close your eyes. Really imagine it. And they're successful. They've won. And who are the people in your mind that are the leaders of this revolution? Are they all white? Like, who is going to follow whiteoid leadership, like majority whiteoid leadership, majority whiteoid membership? Like, it's one thing if there was a majority whiteoid membership, like, when it's later on, because obviously when you have millions of people in America, 60 to 70% of them are going to be white. So yeah, that probably should be, majority whiteoid membership. But to have a 75% whiteoid membership, in the early goings, you really think that party is going to fucking be the resonant, revolutionary, anti-capitalist party in America? Get the fuck out of my fucking face. Get the fuck out of my face. Do you think we should accept the term yellow? I think it's a Western imposition of 18th century race science. In old Chinese documents, usually Koreans... Well... It's more that, like, I think yellow is good in this moment, like ignoring the history, just because every race kind of gets a color, right? You know, there's white people, there's black people, there's brown people, you know, except in the brown is kind of like a weird thing because like they kind of group Latino people and Muslims and South Asians. So it's just kind of like, wait, this is kind of like a weird all-encompassing color. But I feel like because Asians aren't given a color, that's how the link between Western imperialism and white supremacy and Asian people is kind of removed from the rest of the non-white population, right? They think, oh, they're Asian, right? So they're like, they're not even a color. Or like, you think when a non-white person, when a BIPOC person thinks Asian, you know, the whole thing was they're white adjacent, right? You know, when you put Asian into these minds in the 1980s, when they were talking about, you know, the Republicans were making the model minority argument, saying like, hey, these Asians came and succeeded. Why can't these black people do it too? It's just their mentality is wrong, right? So this is the thing that Republicans were saying. And then the liberals were saying, no, they're actually succeeding because they're white adjacent, you see. We're actually not racist to them. That's why they're succeeding. So in the BIPOC mind, this computes to, oh, Asians aren't yellow, they're white adjacent. So they're not even like another color. They're pretty much white in my mind now. Right? So I would argue that we should want yellow. Not because it's like a, it's, oh, this is how they classified us, and this is French science, race science, blah, blah, blah. Not because of that reason, but because to fucking, like, clarify, no, we're not fucking white adjacent, you pieces of shit motherfuckers. We're yellow. We're not fucking white. You know? So that's how I kind of fucking think about it, I guess. Let's see. Oh, it'll definitely be majority Asian in the beginning, at least for sure. Because I don't think anyone who's non-Asian would even want to join in the beginning anyway. Yeah, he looks like a white American, probably the only non-East defending Asians like that, though. I mean, that is true. He did talk about fucking, especially when it was going against Drew Pavlo and talking about how he was a fucking anti-Asian racist fuck. So yeah, I'm not saying I more or less like Haas. It's his followers and the RTSG that are fucking scum to me. Haas himself, while I have gripes about the way he does things and whatever, at least on a positional level, on a theoretical level, on an ideological level, I mostly agree with Haas. There's very few things that I disagree with. Of course, this Pol Pot thing is one of them, if he's not ever going to fucking rectify that situation. But, and his just kind of like, the things that I know Homo Fagilis is like, you know how I think about Homo Fagilis and Haas? I think of Haas as King Theoden and Homo Fagilis as that like Wormtail guy or whatever the fuck this name is, like the guy who's like controlled by Saruman, like has Saruman's power and is just kind of like, using Saruman to like control King Theoden. That's how I fucking see them, right? King Theoden is Haas and Homo Fagilis is the fucking like that fucking like snivelly guy like that's like, or maybe he's fucking Saruman himself, right? Just like using this fucking magical fucking whiteoid shit to control King Theoden, right? That's how I fucking see them. His recent interview, CBS 60 Minutes. Whose interview? So is Tommy Turtle, is BB alive or dead in your opinion? Is he alive still? I haven't been following that thread, to be honest. Oh, he had an exclusive. So I guess he is alive. Do you think we should say Black Panther had JAP member, but that one JAP member spied on the party for the FBI? Is that confirmed? Holy cow! I thought that was just rumored. I don't know if that was confirmed. There's no other good alternatives, though. All the terms used to represent us are Western impositions. Yeah, exactly. I first learned about the ACP from you. To be honest, I can't take serious the modern day white communists in the U.S., and I'm pretty apolitical. Yeah, I mean, like, anyone who's followed me, like, for a while, for on K-Town Social Club, whatever, knows that I was on the front lines defending the ACP, right? For a good fucking year and a half, I was like, this is the way to go. This is how we do things. This is the only fucking path forward. Obviously, my opinion has changed. I now think that for Asian Americans, really the only option is to prepare to get the fuck out of here. That is the only thing I can suggest for Asian Americans at this point. On a political level, like there's no use in fucking dealing with Western or American politics anymore. I mean, I guess there could be a use if I start my party, but absent that, there is no fucking use. There's no space. I tried every fucking space, right? I talked to liberals. I talked to conservatives. I've talked to DSA people. I've talked to PSL people. I've talked to, I've now joined and left the ACP. I fucking did the Ho Chi Minh thing, right? The investigation thing. I've investigated every fucking avenue, right? What did Ho Chi Minh do? Right? Ho Chi Minh was my guy. So what did I do? Ho Chi Minh just went to fucking England, went to France, went to America, went to Saudi Arabia, went to fucking Algeria, went to all over the fucking world, the French fucking empire that was going on. And when he came to the Soviet Union, he was like, this is it. This is the solution. This is the only solution. Right? And so I did the fucking same thing. I went to liberals. I went to Democrats. I went to fucking, libertarians. I was like talking to them, whatever. And, I was talking to leftists. I was talking to conservatives. And then I talked to DSA, like I said. And then I was like, ACP is the truth. And then I was like, maybe not, right? They don't give a fuck about Asian Americans. It's like, okay. That's where diasporoid comes from. It comes from the ACP. They just think we're a bunch of fucking freeloaders. That's what they think of Asian Americans. They just think we're, capitalist dogs that just came here to become rich. They're fucking anti-Asian Nazis too. I'm sorry to say. Sorry. It's just the fucking truth. That's their mentality. That this is the ideology that they're, a lot of it's coming from this fucking Saruman that I'm talking about, but that's the fucking truth. And I don't, they can fucking slander me all they want, and I know they will. I know, fucking that's the infrared, that's the RTSG MO, and even fucking Rev admitted to it. He's a fucking psychopath. That it doesn't even matter what the truth is. What matters is how much damage they can inflict on your reputation, because they rely on ad hominem, right? Their whole strategy is based upon ad hominem. if they can score an effective ad hominem on an opponent, that means they've quote unquote won. It doesn't matter what the fucking argument was. It only matters if they fucking win in the court of fucking public opinion. So I don't need to be part of an organization like that. I don't need to fucking like play these fucking games. And so I don't give a fuck if they all slander me. If they all fucking pull the fucking, you'll probably have like fucking, that guy, I forgot what his name was, but like coming out with all these tweets about how I was this or that, making up all this fucking shit. And, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. I don't fucking care. Because if you do, I will fuck you right back. So you can fucking try it. But we can go to war if you want. If you really want, we can go to war. But I'm just saying I'm just saying what everyone else fucking knows. Like, and everyone can fucking see on their own. Like, how many fucking Asian Americans are like in the fucking party in California, one of the most Asian populated states? I was literally one of the only fucking like full Asians. Literally. And I'm like, the thing is, like, they always say that, like, oh, blah, 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 you shouldn't bash the party, blah, 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 whatever. And it's just kind of like, I'm sorry, but it's Lenin said a serious party critiques itself, and you guys do not do that at all. Never take accountability for anything. That's why, I mean, it makes sense, because they're run by whiteoids. Whiteoids are fucking soft. They don't know what they're fucking doing. They never had the negative dialectic of life or death. That's the thing. When Asian Americans came here, when Asian Americans came to this country, starting in the 1960s, all of our fucking parents, all of our fucking parents came from very poor places. They grew up in very fucking poor, conditions. South Korea was poorer than Ghana in 1953. Poorer than Ghana, poorer than Haiti. The average South Korean citizen made $67 a year in 1960. And you know why that's significant? Because prostitutes were making a lot more, except all that money was going to their pimps and their whatever, these institutions that were sponsored by the government, not to them themselves. So much so that the 25% of South Korea's GDP in 1960 was from prostitution alone. And so, if you don't have Asian Americans in your party, that means that Asian Americans think your shit is worthless and is not going to do anything. Because you know why? Because we know what it takes to actually accomplish something. We've gotten the negative dialectic. All our parents were like, if you want to succeed, if you want to survive in America, let alone succeed, you need to fucking study. Because if you don't study, if you don't work hard, this country's going to fucking shit in your face. What privileges do Asian people have in this country? None. If you're poor Asian, you're fucked. If you're poor Asian, you're more fucked than a poor black person. You know why? Because of racism, they actually think all Asian people are rich. So poor Asians actually get less financial support from, welfare stuff than black people do and Hispanic people do. That's why Hmong people are fucked. Because they don't get fucking financial aid, even though they're fucking poor refugees, because they're Asian. We've had this negative dialect. Not only that, Asian Americans have had the negative dialective of being called communists their entire lives. So we understand what it is to be called communist while not even being communist. We understand the fucking prejudices and the fucking like that whole thing. And it's just like, oh no, we don't care about those people. You know who else didn't care about those people? The KPD. The German fucking Communist Party. The KPD, they saw the Nazis doing their thing in the 1920s about Jews and all this stuff. They didn't respond to it. Even though the Nazis were catching fire with that rhetoric, they never responded to it. They said, oh, well, you know, we don't want to upset other Germans by negating their anti-Semitism. That's the same fucking concept, right? They don't want to look like they're, you know, communist by having more Asians. You know, so because the average whiteoid would have a bad fucking like image of the party if there were too many Asians in it, you know. That's the fucking logic they're fucking using, in my opinion. And it's just kind of like, you know, it's like they think that I'm only saying this because I want to, you know, I'm a wrecker and I want to destroy the party. No, I actually want the party to succeed, right? Because I have personal interest vested in this country becoming communist. But like my critiques are because it's not succeeding. And I'm telling you what you're doing wrong. Like, you know, it's been a year now and membership has been stagnant. You don't think you don't think that you should reevaluate what you're doing and you might be doing some stuff wrong? You know? The fucking Epstein files came out a couple months ago and you guys have membership are stagnant. Like, what is fucking going on? Like, what do you think this is? But, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, people, it's not even just like a serious party must self-critique. A serious party must be able to take critique, right? Because that's the dialectical fucking process. People don't get it right the first time. You know, people don't fucking get it right all the time. You know, Mao said Stalin was 70-30, I think. You know, Deng said the same thing about Mao, right? You know, that's why I always get annoyed when they say shit like Stalin did nothing wrong too. And it's just kind of like, what are you fucking talking about? This just like makes us look stupid. Like, anyway, they can paint me as Danny Shaw or whatever, all they fucking want. But at the end of the day, I just wanted a fucking communist party that was a fucking communist party, you know? But that's why I quit. I was like, this is going nowhere. Wish them the best. You know, wish them well, but it hasn't been looking good since I left either. So I'm just like, all right, I guess, whatever. Just keep doing that shit. I'm sure it'll work out sometime, someday, you know. But it goes to show, like, once I left, right? Once I left, I was free, right? In my opinion, I was free to say the stuff, especially about whiteoids. I went full fucking anti-white action again, right? I had a moment in 2020, 2021 where I was like, fuck white people all the time. I don't do that anymore, obviously. I just call them whiteoids to kind of illustrate my point. It's just kind of like a more funny way of insulting white people. And again, it's not out of hatred. It's more out of derision and pity. So it's more like I'm trying to be racist to white people in the way that they are racist to black people. Because, like, the way people white people are racist to black people is a sense of derision, right? Like it's a sense of like, y'all ain't shit, like fuck you, you're a, blah blah blah, you can't raise a family, your dad left, etc etc, you're all criminals, right? It's like kind of like you guys are lesser people because you guys just don't even behave well, right? You can't even like fucking function. That's the derisive factor of the white anti-blackness, right? And so what do black people do in response? They say like, oh, well, white people ain't shit. You guys didn't invent anything. This whole country was made by us, etc etc. But like nobody takes that seriously because it's not like really accurate, right? Or it's simplifying a very thing that to most people it doesn't seem true at all. What I'm doing is similar to what the whiteoid is doing, right? Because the whiteoid is dismissing Asian people too. They're like, oh well, you guys are robots. You have small dicks, etc etc. You have no emotions. You are not creative, etc etc. Whatever. And so I'm like, okay, whiteoids, well, you guys are retarded. You guys used to be smart, but you ain't smart anymore. Like, look at your fucking college education. Look at your fucking whatever. I'm actually critiquing whiteoids the same way they try to critique Asians. And then, obviously people, the ACP feels some sort of way about that. That's the fucking rub, right? They try to make it seem like there's no racism in the ACP or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the minute you critique white people in America, they get all on your fucking ass. And it's like, all right, well. And so I feel like the ACP a little bit, when I was in it, they were kind of holding me back. Because like I was trying to play nice with the whiteoids a little bit when I was a part of the party. Because I'm like, all right, I don't want to like piss off the average ACP member, etc., whatever. Let's be cordial to the whiteoids. But after I left, it's been 5 months now, right? Since January. I've gotten 30% more followers on fucking Twitter. I'm fucking catching fire on threads every fucking week now. And I'm just kind of like, bro, like, I don't even care about the ACP anymore, Like, they're falling into irrelevancy. I probably said this before, but I think what was effective about MAGA communism was that it was anti-establishment and talking about the establishment, what the liberal establishment was doing, like with the woke stuff, with the propaganda. And I agreed with that, right? I agreed with a lot of what they were saying about MAGA communism and how MAGA communism was trying to like get the spirit of making America great again, like the things that made America great, right? The industrialization, the entrepreneurship, the innovation, the stuff that was happening in the early 1900s, late 1800s, right? Trying to capture that spirit and say, this is MAGA communism. This is what the actual people want. They don't want this fucking liberal bullshit, which is like bourgeois culture and all this other fucking nonsense. And that was like effective because the liberal establishment was in power at the time and people could see the contradictions in what they were saying, in what the liberal establishment was saying, and the contradictions in their imperialism, right? Because everyone could see that, fucking there were Nazis in Ukraine, right? And they were like more concerned about pronouns than that, right? And there was obviously Gaza started under the Biden administration. And that was a huge fucking boon for Jackson Hinkle, right? Because I think around that time, Jackson Hinkle had 200,000 followers. But because he was very early on Zionism and being anti-Israel, a lot of Middle Eastern people saw him as an ally. And so they capitalized on that. And so they were, getting that momentum all the way up to the Trump election. Right? In 2024, Trump was elected in November. And the script completely flipped, right? Because now MAGA was in power again, right? Or they thought they were in power, right? And so they're like, this is what I voted for. This is blah, blah, blah. And like, we are getting rid of it. So in their minds, in MAGA's minds, woke has already been crushed. And they were right? It was crushed by it's crushed by Elon's sort of fucking Doge initiatives and fucking cutting all the USAID funding all over the world, right? Because USAID was CIA woke shit, like spreading it all. But once they thought that for the MAGA people, for the white MAGA people, Republicans, the fight was over. They won. So while this is going on, MAGA communism obviously isn't working anymore, right? Because if you're a MAGA person, you'll be like, MAGA, what do you mean, MAGA? I don't fucking care. We won, right? Like, MAGA already won. We don't need MAGA communism to win anymore, right? They just saw MAGA communism as a tool to be like, yeah, fuck the liberals. But like, once the liberals are fucked, they're like, thanks, go away now, right? There's no interest in that anymore, right? There's no fucking interest in this MAGA shit anymore because everyone has already moved past. Identity politics and woke shit has been sublated already, right? That was the only thing that fucking MAGA communism was critiquing, that it was A, correct on, but B, it was already sublated by the Trump election. But they kept fucking pounding on that strategy. Like, but I would argue that in the era of MAGA, where they're, trying to reinstall white supremacy, right? Now you kind of like have to judo move yourself into being not quite woke, but maybe slightly woke, right? Being like I am right now, which is like basically making fun of fucking whiteoids for being whiteoids. You kind of have to like, that's why I feel like, I've been successful, knock on wood, in these past 5 months doing this shit, being like, my anti-whiteoid, like just by saying fucking whiteoid all the time, I think like people are being like, oh yeah, that's cool, because now I'm employing the reverse strategy of MAGA communism, right? I'm like saying like, oh, fuck the whiteoids, fuck the MAGA people. We need to like revolt because like we're going to get Nazified or, Nazi genocided by these fucks. So we need to band together right now. MAGA communism was only able to recruit whiteoids that agreed at least slightly with MAGA. But now that is over, all the MAGA people you're trying to attract now don't fucking give a shit. Now they're like, whatever. We're just going to go back to being racists, And so it's like I'm trying to help the ACP, but they didn't want my help, right? They didn't want my help. What is an Asian guy? What is a Korean guy with, connected all over America to all of the Asian Americans in America? Like in every single, I've talked to Asians in every fucking major American city. What is this guy used to us in understanding our current fucking paradigm? Even though nothing has improved in the past fucking year, despite being given fucking, like golden nuggets, like how could you not like grow 10x after the Epstein files? Like, how does that even fucking happen? Where, this Epstein thing happens And you guys, it doesn't even fucking move the needle. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's why, well, I left the party because of all that, but B, I'm thinking to myself, maybe it's just impossible for a white-oid party, Marxist-Leninist party, to succeed. Maybe it's just, maybe it's not even their fault. Maybe it's just doomed for failure because of the white-oid mind, the limitations of the white-oid mind, you know? And, you know, they're probably going to call me racist for saying that. Anti-white. I'm so anti-white, right? But it's like fucking true, right? Stalin and Lenin, they were part Asian, right? Kalmyk and Georgian. You know, the Nazis kind of made fun of that. They were like, these are Mongolian horde fucking leaders. These Russians aren't even led by white people. They're led by these fucking Mongolians. You know? And then what happened after, you know, white-oid Ukrainian Khrushchev took over? What after, you know, after Brezhnev, after fucking Gorbachev? What happened? It all fucking went to shit. You know, maybe the white-oid isn't capable of doing Marxism-Leninism. I don't know. Am I racist for saying that? Maybe. But empirically speaking, you know, the only white socialist country that still exists is Cuba. And it's not even that white. I mean, its leaders were kind of white. You know, they were from Spain. But that's what white-oid communism will get you, right? It'll get you Cuba. It'll get you fucking Cuba. That's what white-oid communism gets you. Like, I don't like, everyone's like, oh, but, you know, they're so close to the United States, and, you know, they were sanctioned and all this other fucking thing. You know, DPRK has China and Russia right next door. It was protected, blah, 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 whatever. I was like, see, this is the white-oid mind. The white-oid mind doesn't know fucking jack shit about the DPRK. The white-oid mind doesn't know that China kicked it to the curb in the 1990s. The white-oid mind doesn't know that Russia kicked it to the curb already after the Soviet Union fell. The white-oid mind does not understand any of this shit because they lack theory of mind for other ethnic groups. They think that, oh, yeah, you know, racism kind of was a thing before, but now we're not racist. You know, we just think all these things about how you guys are inferior, but we're not actually racist, you know, because, you know, that racism was pretty bad. You know, they were actually raping and killing you back then, but we only think you guys are stupid and worthless, but that's not actually racism. Like, Asian people, black people, Hispanic people, we're not stupid. We can see when people are racists. Okay? So ask yourself, why is your party so white? In a fucking state like California, too. In California, right? Like, yeah, sure, if you're in fucking Montana or in Appalachia or whatever, of course there's going to be majority white people. But you're telling me this fucking California party, I'm the only full Asian? Okay, all right, whatever. You know? Let's see. ACP could wind up at the root of the KTSC. Everyone fucking tries to hate on me, you know what I mean? YH1CG, where are you hearing Ross talk shit about me, by the way? Fuck that piece of shit. You know, I actually tried to help him before. He actually like DM'd me for advice before. That fucking little fucking shit stained muppet. This is the thing. Everyone fucking like. It's so pathetic how like you fucking sucked white cock for the to betray your own kind. But it's not surprising. Stagnated since Zoran's election, really. What stagnated? There's a reason why whites are called Farang, Guelo, Angmo, Gringo, Nazi, Lefty, Barbarian, Amalek. Exactly. Pretty sure the ACP is just another time and energy waster. At this point, I mean, I can't disagree with that. I mean, empirically speaking, I really can't disagree with that. Like, I don't know. People lose interest too really quickly, right? I'm sure I'm not the only person who's left the party. I'm like 100% sure, and I'm sure that the majority of the people at the left party are not white. That's another thing I'm pretty sure about. I don't have the exact numbers, but obviously I'm not an internal spy, you know, in your DMs or whatever, in your fucking shit. I don't actually care that much. Like, I know these fucking RTSG people probably think I'm like trying to like hack into their systems and like figure out what's like. I don't care. All I'm talking about is like, I just know, because like I just know. I met a lot of, you know, of the non-white party members, right? They were all fucking coming up to me. I wonder why that might be the case. You know what I mean? I wonder why all the non-white people were coming up to me during the convention, right? I wonder why that might be the case. I don't know. It's crazy, right? Why would the non-white people come to the white adjacent dude? I don't fucking know. I never understood Asians in MAGA making America great again for a country that treats you like a second-class citizen. Yeah. I actually knew about that Zio Jew shenanigans in Palestine due to Richard Medhurst way before it became popular. What stuff are you talking about, Chevy? Critique whites and Jews in the ACP, but you can critique an Asian. Exactly, right? Literally, like they threw the hammer down when like Jews are fucking like critiqued or whatever. But, you know, everyone else is just fucking like fair game. Isn't the result the strategy all along? Maybe failure was the end goal. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't think failure was the end goal. I think there was a lot of people there who genuinely believe that they're doing the right thing. But I just think the explanation is simpler. The white-oid mind just can't get it done. That's Occam's razor, right? The racist Occam's razor. He fled. Us Asians are anti-everything. The white-oid must be conquered by the Turk to have profit Marxism, Leninism. Cuba has a lot of black people, lol. Does it? Well, there you go. Engels was a white guy that could do communism. I guess that's true. But Engels and Marx never succeeded at creating communism, right? They only had the theory behind it. But even then, they couldn't get it done. It was the Eurasian Kalmyk Vladimir Lenin who got that shit done, right? Yeah, Ross is Korean. Isn't Douglas Spader Ross? Is he? I knew Douglas Spader was a fucking sock puppet. I didn't know it was Ross. But thank you for telling me now, because now I know. But what makes you think that? It does make sense if Douglas Spader was Ross, but I want to know what your rationale for that was. Doug has inner Korean rage. Fight the good fight. Of course. Ross is Korean. Yeah. Half Korean. He's a Wasian. He's a Wasianist. I don't consider him Korean. He's fucking white. Or he wants to be white. You know? He's a fucking cockroach scumbag. That's what ACP Leaks said. Actually, no, Golden Parenti. He's actually not white, so I won't go. I don't think he wants me to say much more about who he actually is, so I'm not going to say much more. But all I'll say is that he's not white. So I actually trust Golden Parenti. I think like Golden Parenti is just like, you know, knows Ross to be an ACP member, so I don't think they're aligned. Yup. All my gigas hate that piece of shit. I'm in Saigon. They hate the whiteys here. Well, then don't call it Saigon then, Richard. It's fucking Ho Chi Minh City, all right? Genociding of Palestinians before 10/7. Yeah. Oh, okay. I see. I mean, ACP Leaks, I don't know if to trust them either. Part of me thinks, well, I have a theory about that I probably shouldn't say, but maybe I will after a while has passed. But yeah. Anyway, wow, it's 2.5 hours. I've been yapping a lot. All right, does anyone else have any other questions or whatever? Are there ACP members in here that think I'm fucking crazy and are gonna report me to Haas? I remember the decolonial academics talking about black and brown bodies exclusively for years. Like, aren't we forgetting someone? That's what I'm fucking saying. This is how I'm just like, this is how you point out the hypocrisy of liberals. Like, why are you not seizing upon this opportunity? Like, especially like how they don't talk about the Japanese war crimes. They don't talk about anti-Asian racism. They pretend like we don't even fucking aren't, you know, like imperialism never existed. Like, what are you fucking doing? Like, I'm just like, what are you doing? You know? Oh. Fucking whiteoids. They're so incompetent. Whiteoids are just fucking incompetent. They don't know what they're fucking doing. Like, literally the people with the most fucking actionable skills for Marxism, Leninism. Like I said before, doctors, lawyers, engineers, we studied fucking philosophy, logic, math, science, engineering. Like, yeah, MAGA communism might have been great 100 years ago when the average worker was fucking, you know, a fucking, you know, regular working class laborer that, you know, wasn't doing anything that needed actual fucking engineering or whatever. But we live in a different time when all that shit is like cutting edge, bleeding edge shit that's defining the fucking Cold War, the Cold War II. You should name the Yellow Tiger Party something that connected Asians and Native Americans since we related to Yellow Tiger. It seems a little orientalist. That's a good idea, actually. I'll actually consider that. YH1ZG. Are you ACP yourself, YH? Or are you just a follower of like infrared and all this other stuff? Doing the Jackie Chan meme, brother. What's the Jackie Chan meme? Turbo Chang's party. I crave Arroyo's con pollo now. ACP. What's Arroyo's? Arroyo's. What is that? Honda Civic party. Honda Civic was like the 90s and the 2000s. It doesn't really. Asians don't really drive those cars anymore, really. Or like the. Well, I guess a lot of Asians like Teslas these days. That's what I found. A lot of like professional Asians like to drive Teslas. May DM you about something on this Discord soon. Interesting threads. No, I'm just in for a follower. I think Spurs might win it all. Chicken rice. Oh, did they just win? Oh, nice. Fucking. Chicken and rice. I actually might. I actually do have. There's this half black, half native mutual I have on Twitter. I might talk to him about some ideas. He's actually lived on reservations before, so it might be interesting. The Golden Horde. The Golden Tiger. How about the Golden Tiger? The Golden Cougars. I don't know if a cougar. Cougar seems like we're like middle-aged women trying to like fucking like, you know, be pedophiles with boys. Bro, I hate seeing Teslas. They're so ugly. Yeah, I would never get a Tesla myself. Just because, like, I would always think, like, Jesus, I could get this 3x cheaper in China. You know? I could never buy a Tesla just for that reason alone. It would just mentally, every time I'd drive it, I'd be like, I could have gotten this for 3x cheaper. You know, the Asian, saver mentality in my mind would just fucking crash out every fucking drive. 22-year player winning championship. Well, don't count on the Knicks just yet, all right? Go New York. Though I guess, like, if we want... Well, LeBron's team apparently just said they are not taking the league minimum, so you could forget about them going to the Knicks, I suppose. Golden Cougars. Tigers aren't Native Americans, but Cougars are. Oh, Golden Pumas. I feel like Pumas is already associated with Black Americans, though, because of Puma shoes. BYD and Ho Chi Minh City. Nice. You got it right this time. Most comfortable. Golden Dragon Party. Yellow Dragon Party sounds fire. Import of BYD. All right. We'll figure it out. Well, maybe we'll have a fucking party first, and we'll have more of a fucking workshop, between the main party members of like what we want to be called, I suppose. Import BYD from Canada or Mexico. Are we allowed to do that, Andrew? I didn't think we were, or they would just fucking like hit us with a huge tariff anyway if we did that, right? I feel like. But I'm moving to New York anyway, so I don't actually need a car. It's fine. All right. Been yapping a lot, so unless there's anything super important, I am going to sign off in the next 30 seconds. White guy in Ho Chi Minh City keeps asking why no girls talk to him. Because they hate you, white boy. Wait, why is a white guy asking you? Who is this guy? Why does he keep... What do you mean he keeps asking you? Is this your buddy? There's BYDs in San Diego. Oh, shit. I guess you can do that then? I guess there would be BYDs in, like, Seattle then, too, right? Or Washington. Or, like, Maine, maybe. Minnesota, I suppose. Texas. All right. I will talk to you guys on Sunday. I'll see you guys later.